Talk Official Podcast, where we have comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I am your host, Juice, aka No Ordinary Brother.
All right, what up, world? Welcome to your favorite show once again. If you're tapping in for the first time, welcome home. I go by the name of King Exodus. We appreciate your time. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure you share the live and share the video. Alrighty?
All right, y'all. First subtopic of the day. We have the Michael O'Hare from The Blind Side. Everybody's seen the movie, right? Blind Side. You know, the kid that was living on the streets. He was homeless at one point, foster care, and this beautiful white couple come in the picture, right? Sandra Bullock. I probably said the name wrong. You know, she's a good actor too. She came in. She was acting as the mom, and basically took the kids off the streets, put them within the household. You know, had them playing football. They're doing things for this young black man at the time. I love the movie. I watched the movie like a billion times. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Some white people adopted a black man. He's doing well now. He's in the NFL. They sent him to Ole Miss for college. I was like, okay, that's what's up. Then we find out a couple of weeks ago that we found out The Blind Side was actually a fake story. I'm like, holy shit. They didn't just lie to me. That was like one of my childhood types of movies right there. To find out later on down the years that Michael O'Hare and the white family that supposedly adopted him, they said it was fake. And I'm more so like kind of curious, like, yo, why is he just now speaking about it years later? Why didn't he speak about it right then and there? What was it? Was there a check involved? Was it like, hey, keep your mouth closed, but we're going to make sure you're good? Because I think the movie is like almost 10 years old, but that's the big thing right there, right? So what are your thoughts on the subject of Michael O'Hare admitted that the movie is fake and they basically just used his name?
Man, they call it The Blind Side for a reason, right? Shit never happened. Nobody never seen it. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was kind of like fresh into my whole like quote unquote woke stage when this came out. So, you know, I was just on some shit like, it's just something about this just don't sit right with me. I went to the movies to see it, and I just had my guards up. And, you know, come to find out I was right. Yo, these types of things happen every day in Black America where people sign paperwork they don't truly understand. They trust the wrong people that's from different groups. And this is how it works. This is how business gets done sometimes. So out of a book and a movie, supposedly this NFL player hasn't received a penny for any of it, and it's supposedly his story. So, just got to be more careful. You got to stay dangerous out there, people. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're signing. You know what I'm saying? Just let's conduct business on a higher level. And everybody that comes to your aid is not necessarily helping you. You just have to be aware of these things. You know what I mean? So, it's not a long, drawn-out situation. It's sad. My first response is what took him so long, but supposedly like legalities, maybe it's some things he wasn't aware of. I'm not sure, but we just got to be more careful. Protect yourself at all times.
Oh, yes. All right. Our next subtopic is UPS drivers will earn up to $170,000 over 5 years in the next 5 years. I'm looking at it like, listen, 170K.
I'm finna branch over
boxes. Be a little dog ass. Every once in a while, pepper spray a little motherfucker. Hey, to go through hey man, my box is late. Hey, I'll do it. Hey, listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. All delivery services jobs, it's not easy, y'all. It is not easy. So I do want to say like these drivers getting 100K a year plus. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Being a delivery driver, especially full time, I believe you deserve it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Y'all think that's easy? No, it's not. Everything's mental. Why people break down on them jobs? Like physically, you're breaking your body every day. You're not getting a lot of sleep, the proper recovery. You're in rain, sleet, snow, hot weather. Man, look, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. But hey, listen, the union's gonna stand with them boys. You know what I'm saying? So listen, y'all need a job making 170K in the next couple of years. Go to UPS, baby. Go to UPS, man. You know what I'm saying? Go to UPS. Go make that money, brother. Because listen, now they can't say you don't make 6 figures. You ain't You don't make sense. Oh my goodness. You gotta work your way up though. That's one thing they do. You gotta work your way up in a system. They don't hire directly as a driver. You gotta work in a warehouse, then move yourself up. I do kind of like that system, but at the same time, if an outside driver is coming into a business who has the experience, like, hey, take the person who's experienced. That's how I look at it. But I do respect, hierarchy at the same time. What are your thoughts on that, brother?
Man, I'll say, it's not funny no more when they say get a job. UPS is hiring. It's not funny no more.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
bro.
It ain't funny no more. It ain't no more fun and games. Look, in life, you don't necessarily get what you're worth. You get what you negotiate. So this works on the business scale. So the prediction is supposedly other delivery companies will have to compete because that becomes the new quota, that becomes the new standard, right? And a lot of times in the NFL, what we see going on with the running backs is supposedly they're saying since Zeke got this big contract and he didn't deliver, so now that affected the market for running backs. So now what they're doing is like they'll just keep a rookie on a 5-year contract. No matter what he does, as soon as he's done, just get another rookie. We're not even going to pay running backs anymore. So we have to keep these things in mind when company raises the stocks. You know what I mean? So other companies will compete with the pay because that's just how the market fluctuates. Otherwise, people will just quit that job and move over to the company that's paying. But you still have some companies that's probably going to be stubborn and not compete with the pay. And we'll see how that works out. Like I say, in life, you don't get what you're worth, you get what you negotiate. So let's just see how it affects the whole scale of delivery service. But shouts out to everybody that do those types of jobs. It's a hell of a job. Rain, sleet, snow, answering ridiculous questions, shit that don't even make sense.
Do you work for UPS? You got the whole UPS.
Right. Feel me? So yeah, it's just one of those things. And in actuality, it's people that don't even do the delivery in these jobs that make the 6 figures plus. They drive the nice cars and what have you, that never touch the package, never touch the piece of mail, never touch the scanner. You know what I mean? So this is America. You know what I mean? We just have to continue to see companies break these barriers and actually pay their employees a little bit of what they're worth. So you got it.
All right. Hey, listen, that's our subtopics for today. Hope everybody got what they wanted for the night. Said day and the night. You got it. But anyway.
Right.
Tonight's subject. Does society trust men? Like I said, some of the best conversations we have is just between me and this man right here, man. Like, y'all gonna miss it. Like, it might be a gym. We say we both take off to the next universe. We ain't gonna ever bring it back to the podcast. But
it's in the metaverse, y'all. It's in the metaverse.
But let's go ahead and tackle out the subject. Expert to bring this for the forefront. Does society trust men, or does society only want to benefit off of men's labor? Let's be all around, right? We have situations like, men need to build, protect, and lead, right? Men can build, men can protect, but that lead part is like, nah, I don't know if you know how to lead. See, there's a lot of back and forth when it comes into that leadership, right? A man can do everything else, but when it comes to leadership, it's more like he got to be diplomatic for it, right? Listen, baby, look, we'll go down the street, we'll go to the house, and we're go out for dinner. Well, look, do you know how to properly get down the street? What they call passenger princesses or something? Like, somebody just always got to talk to you the whole time as you making things out, planning things on the way. But I think we'll prolong it a little bit more, man. But that's what's on the table. We got a couple questions I got written down right here, and we're gonna knock this out, man. Go ahead, give your opening.
All right. So pretty much, the topic is centered around does society trust men. Oftentimes, men are able to do a lot of things except have an input or a seat at the table when certain decisions are made. We'll take a conversation over a range of topics. First and particularly, let's do like the household. Let's do like the family settings. You know what I mean? Like, we have this rhetoric that men provide, they protect, they pay the bills, clean the cars, make sure the house is right, they do the maintenance, they do all that. But when it comes to the decisions, fall back. Wifey got that. Then, or some people run their households to where kids they have a say so. Like, they have an opinion. Like, we're not going to enforce what the father wants. We're going to hear what the children actually feel about it first. And then You know what I'm saying? We see these different diplomatic settings take place. So what I see in society is like, look, a man can provide and protect, but I feel as though most men feel empowered when they have some sense of authority, when they have an input that's kind of unquestioned, because it shows the greatest amount of trust within that man, that you trust his decision making and leadership,
Mm.
right? And sometimes the pushback is, well, I can't trust this leadership. So my response is, why you wouldn't? What's the point? If you were a man that you can't trust to effectively lead, that doesn't just say a lot about that man, that says a lot about you. You feel
Mm.
me? So you have to make sound decisions as a man, as a woman, into building a family structure so where everybody can participate within their role. You feel me? So it's going to be things that the man leads at that shouldn't be questioned. And there's going to be areas where the woman leads at. It shouldn't be questioned. That's the balance. That's the duality. But when you have one person making a mass amount of the decisions, and some of the rhetoric may come from the old school deal to where, you know, men brought home the check, but mentally they weren't competent enough to pay bills and make financial decisions. I don't understand that. You
Yeah,
feel me?
I was just about to bring that up too. I was just about to bring
Right.
that up.
So some of it, we have to rewrite the narratives to where, okay, let's put a man in that situation to where he don't just make money, but he also is financially literate. He understands investments. He understands how to make his money work for him and the family. So that man's not going to need a woman to pay the bills and make the decisions in the financial space. But that woman shouldn't feel like she's not as of value or service because she can't do the things, quote unquote, traditionally that women have done as of old when it comes to making certain decisions. And you know what I mean? And then we have this rhetoric to where a man and a woman can have children, have a household, but then society first says that's her child. You know what I mean? Like, we have to be careful of the vocabulary that we use. It's not a your child, it's not a his child, it's a y'all child. That's your family. So every little thing counts. So, you know what I mean? We just have to build better family structures based around how we actually see family and not just what everybody has done and told us this is how we should navigate. So you got it.
Oh man, one thing you brought up was the financial thing.
Mhm.
The funniest thing is like people always like saying, you know, women are better at managing finances, and then like I always look at the debt chart and be like, all
The
right.
biggest confuse.
I look at the debt
Biggest
chart and be like,
confuse.
all right. But
Right.
a lot of people still try to lead with the old time periods. You know, there are things I do believe that still should be worked in place as it once was. Like I said,
Mhm.
hey, protect, provide, lead, and I do believe that some things may have to be adapted. Meaning, like, hey, listen, if it takes two people to work within that household, so be it. You know, I think society is not understanding that. Listen, the way things are going, if you're not dealing with a man who has a certain vision for himself or has the capability or wants or needs to provide on a certain type of level, it's gonna probably take two people to make things stay afloat. And that don't mean society should shit on that man either, right? Because the person who might have to have his wife, you know, throw in finances might be the same man you talk shit about, but may protect you later on in life in a situation. Like, imagine if we men operated on feelings based. I think a lot of things would be fucked up in this world. Why do I say that? Because society's made it okay to shit on men, right? No matter what job you do, no matter how much money you make, how you look. And men took everything women said to heart, and then another man is attacking that woman. All he got to say is, hey, listen, remember what you told me? But things are already in place that, hey, a man has to perfect and provide regardless of the situation scenarios. Power dynamics. One thing X is really telling y'all the truth on is there's a lot of things that are lenient towards women versus men. Um, let me just see the example I just had at the tip of my mind is like, for instance, like you said, the childbirth. It's her baby, it's not y'all's baby, right? Um, it goes from y'all bought a house to like that's her house. Like, like pay close attention to how a lot of things always can be flopped towards one gender, even if the other gender if it took two other individuals to make things happen, right? I know I was talking to him about divorce, right? And I said the reason why divorce hits men so hard is that depending on the leadership and the headship and provider ability he has, right? If a man is able to take care of everything at the house and the woman doesn't have to work, is one of the things why they add on divorce, right? Okay, she ain't working how many years? Okay, cool. How much does this house cost? Cool. Who's able to take the kids to the appointments? Okay, she is. How many times are you able to do this with the kids? Okay, she's able to do it more. They're looking to add more financials on the woman's side if the man is not actually being present for the kids, but he's doing what the man's supposed to do, which is provide. So I'm
Hmm.
like, man, you'll tax the shit out of the man being a provider, but then be like, well, she's there most of the time, so give everything to her. So that's one of the dynamics I never understood alone. So
Shit. Kevin Samuels did a beautiful breakdown. He was like, look, yeah, Big Mama is the backbone of the family. She rules in her authority, but Big Daddy died working. He don't get the credit for dying working because he died.
right.
So his lack of absence, even though it's due to his demise, you only see visually who's there in front of you. But it's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. And as older family members, adults, we have to educate more on these topics. Like, look, just because you don't see a person physically there 100% of the time, it don't mean they not putting in blood, sweat, and tears to actually produce the comfort that you're experiencing. So that's just due to us just, you know what I mean, having real talks with children and, you know, the younger family members so that they actually know what's going on. It's not like we got to kill this whole mentality of, you know, Santa Claus is delivering the Christmas presents. Let's put the presents in the attic and give Santa Claus the credit. Now we're building a society where the mother is becoming the Santa Claus and the man is just the person that's helping putting the gifts in the attic, and you don't know that both parents actually work to provide the gifts. Feel me? So we just got to be careful of how we living. And one thing I noticed about men is sometimes women and children hate the potential of a man, whether it's positive or negative, right? If he has the potential to be too good and great and rich and wealthy, well, he's going to become wealthy and leave us. And
Mm.
then he always has the potential of being negative and leaving us broke and stranding for ourselves. So sometimes, no matter what men do to facilitate a better means or experiences for their family, they're always hated for the potential that they may do better and provide better and leave, or they may not provide better and still leave. So we have to kill the narrative that the man always leaves. And if the man is leaving, peace to Sister Shahrazad Ali, why are they leaving? You know what I mean? Like we're not having these types of conversations. So we're going to have to kill the narrative of there's always a hero and a villain in the family.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So sometimes the roles can be synonymous. Sometimes they can be parallel to each other. Sometimes the hero lives long enough to become the villain. Shouts out to Jay from that great Batman quote. You feel me? So we just have to be careful of these narratives. And sometimes what happens is a lot of children become adults and they hate their father their whole life, and then they get older and they're like, hold the fuck up. You
Like,
know what I'm saying? Like,
you trying to see me? You
wait
trying to see me?
a minute.
Wait a
Wait a
minute.
minute.
Who are you?
You know what I mean? So this is what happens time and time again. So we just have to, like I say, being real about certain situations is imperative. We got to kill these hero and villain roles, always making a man the villain, no matter what. Men don't bear 100% of the responsibility on if the relationship works or not. Like we just got to kill all these narratives, right? So I'll let you do your thing.
Oh, definitely. I was just about to start off right there. What you just said. It's not always a man. Society is taught that a woman's happiness is more important than a man's happiness.
Hmm.
I had a conversation with X. I said, listen, I know this young brother I was talking to. In the midst of our conversation, he kind of told us like how his relationship went down the drain, and that basically, the woman he was with ended up cheating on him and started a family with his best friend. And I was just like, oh man, that's crazy. So as I'm having the conversation with him, I'm asking like, listen, from that personal experience, what have you put in front of yourself to make sure this doesn't happen again? I always talk about four things: standards, requirements, boundaries, non-negotiables.
Sir.
And during the midst of me asking him each one of these things, I noticed nothing was revolved around himself. It was more
Hmm.
so like, hey, listen, I want to make sure my wife is good. I'm traditional. She don't have to work unless she wants to work. And I was like, okay, cool. And then it was like, listen, her happiness means everything. And the more I kept going down the line, I'm like, yo, bro, I don't think you actually have set standards for yourself. Like one of the things he had said was one of his things, like, I can't stand a lazy woman. And I said, he's like, not lazy as in she don't do nothing, but lazy like, let's say she loses a job and she doesn't want to work for it. She doesn't want to get a job no more. I was like, but you already put it in play that she don't have to work. So if certain things you already put in within your relationships and people act on it, you can't necessarily be mad about it. And he's like I say, he's a younger dude. I'm 32. He's 24, 23. But I know he said he was raised around his grandparents. So his models are his grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
How he's seen his grandpa treat his grandma is one of the biggest effects on how he looks as his relationship should be, as him treating the woman he gets in a relationship. I think his grandpa he did all for his grandmother. But it's something I remember asking, like, but do you know the same things I asked you, did he also put in play with your grandma? And he kind of got quiet right there and didn't know. I was like, see, that's one of the biggest things is men do set down foundations for themselves in order to make a healthy relationship. Is everything you're doing is depend off another person's happiness, you're gonna drive yourself fucking insane, dude. Like to make something work comes you have to be happy within yourself. And then you can know that when you have happiness within yourself, you can make somebody happy as well because you're already happy with yourself. So you can't pour out unnecessary energy in trying to make certain relationships work out. I was like, to be honest, man, if you're too nice, people are going to take advantage of that. Well, okay, let's do this. The society trusts men. The society wants to shit on the traditional man. Why? They just want the man to pay the bills and let them do what they want to do. At the same time, we're talking about how traditional men also get used at the same time. They want to see traditional roles, traditional tactics, traditional characteristics, but when that man breaks down, guess what? He needs to be able to rebuild himself. He needs to be able to still move forward. He still got to protect, provide, and lead, but taking traditional things without actually have somebody who's complementary to a traditional person, that's the multi thing. Being complementary, it's nothing but draining. I had my sister's dealing with a traditional man. She said she actually offered to pay. She paid for his meal. She said the man was so thankful he damn near cried, just because it's already instilled in him as a child, as the man protects, provides, and does everything else. So having somebody who come out of a different share offer to pay, it affected him deeply because, like I said, when you act in a role so long, you think this is just how things should be. But then when you have somebody willing to contribute, it shifts your mind. Like, yo, that really happened.
Okay, I see. I see. All right, look, I'll make an example. I think a lot of fathers are going through this. Something simple as a dress code. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fathers that, been there, done that, understand a lot of things going on in the world, predators, morals, presentation. They all want their kids to even have a specific dress code. You know what I mean? But the diplomatic approach that they encounter is, well, the children can decide this. You know what I mean? So men have to be trusted as to have a foresight of the potential danger. Like when we get the whole concept of the man being a protector, right? It comes from antiquity to where, like, we in the jungle, you know what I'm saying? The man is out here literally protecting and shit. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got a gun and shit. He got like a sword or some shit. Like, he really protecting. He got to see the things in the physical world that nobody else sees. The woman got to see things in the spiritual world that nobody else sees. But now we're having this cross to where the woman is taking on a role of seeing the things in the physical and the non-physical. And this is becoming problematic because if a man can say, look, I'm telling you, like, you go down that road, something gonna happen, whatever. Then something happens, then you call the man. You feel me? So it's like, if he's gonna be the person you call within the time of calamity, he should be the person that's present before the calamity presents itself, because he's telling you, I see this coming. So even if it's something simple as a dress code, like, the man is the discipline. So if you have a disciplined man, because that's going to be the pushback, let's just say you have a disciplined man, right?
A structure, man. It's structure,
Right.
man. We go with structure.
Right. And I'm a God advocate. Even that point, he don't have to be a drill sergeant.
Mhm.
He don't have to be perfect. He just has to have a certain percentage of discipline to navigate on. It don't got to be a lot. It ain't got to be 100%. You have to trust the discipline that he has. But he is the discipline within the household. If he cannot establish discipline, curfew, if he can't say, look, at this time,
He talking, man. He
at
talking tonight,
this,
man. He talking tonight,
at this
man.
time, at this time, no cell phones. We're gonna eat at the table together. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. If he can't enforce that discipline, what value does he have? Right? So when a lot of times these men leave, or they go to the, what I'm saying, they go outside the house for whatever, feel me? We just judge the actions that take place, but we don't look at the input behind what led up to these actions. He is the discipline. If he can't enforce any discipline, he has no value. I don't care how much money he brings to the table. I don't care how many bills he pays. That's his most elite position, is the discipline. So this society is just saying, hey, look, you know what I mean? Like, fuck your discipline. Like, all that shit, you're doing too much. We even tell the kids, like, daddy tripping. Like, what I'm saying? He crazy. And now these kids grow up thinking, oh, mama cool, grandma cool, all these other people are cool, dad on some other shit. Like, but when we were looking at traditional families, the men all carried this militant role. This was the role that they exhibited. So we just gotta be careful what we want. If you want a traditional man, you want a man that stands on principles, morals, standards, boundaries, what have you. Like, just producing a family and being present can't be the standard of being a man. It's what does he do with that family. Like, if a man stay in the household, raise the kids, but all the kids ain't shit, you're not gonna look at the mother and say, oh, what did she do? You're gonna be like, oh, well, he was there. What did he do? That's how it works.
Right.
But he can get ran out the same house just for having discipline. So that's his main approach. That's his main value. We shouldn't have to send our kids to the military to learn discipline. They should learn it in the household. We shouldn't have to send our kids to teachers and preachers and all these other people to teach and instill principles, morals, values, and education in our kids. Even though they may do it at a paid rate and a higher rate, it should come a lot of times from the men in the household. They have a voice, they have an opinion, they have a seat at the table. So, all you paycheck daddies and shit like that, and y'all feel comfortable and powerful just because you're paying for shit, we got to kill that narrative. And a lot of times that comes from men who probably didn't have their fathers, so they never seen a man active. They never seen a man get his hands dirty, stand his ground, enforce his will, so to speak. And I ain't saying you got to do it in a disrespectful way. It's just the way you do it. So we're raising a society now to where if a man raises his voice, people feel disrespected. Let's be real. This is how men communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to kill the narrative of the diplomatic, passive man, and that's the only way you get this point across. Sometimes a man gonna get frustrated. Sometimes a man just need to raise his voice just so look, this is just, sometimes it could be just mental trickery. You feel me? Like, when single mothers do it, we don't look at them negative. When they just real tough on their sons and punch them and raise their voice and play mind games with them, case in point, Crawford.
We both thinking the same thing. Crawford.
Like, when his mother said, I'm tough on him, I ain't show him no love, I ain't give him no congratulations because, I wanted him to be the best, whatever. Yo, society ate that up. Oh, she's a great mom. That's what you got to do. She gets all the praise because she made him who he is. But if his daddy did it, the kid, you can run the kid out the household. He's too militant. He's too whatever. So we just got to be careful about who we allow to be, quote unquote, facilitate discipline and masculine energy in the household. So you got to.
Oh man, one thing I was going to say, a couple stories real quick. Like, being under the man's authority should come with certain disciplinary. I mean, not say discipline, it should come with some rules and regulations. I was having a talk with somebody early this week, and I remember I was like, look, let's reflect over our relationship. Let's have some closure. You know what I'm saying? And I said, the reason why I want to have this closure with you is because, listen, I want you to be able to move forward and understand things you were doing in our relationship with the next man and how to be better to the next man. If you can become conscious of these actions, you can make a relationship grow and last longer. And in the midst of us having these conversations, I remember she said something in nature. It's like, so basically, like, she said something like, so I should be listening to you. In other words, I said, well, listen, to be honest, you're not under my authority and headship no more. So you can do whatever. Whatever man you're going to get under, then that's who the person you should listen to. I'm just saying these are things that are consciously that I noticed with when we were talking, right? You said something about standing your ground, standing your square. I just made a post yesterday. I said, listen, some of you people need to learn how to stand on your square, right? I shake up rooms through my personal perspectives. I deliver messages how I see best way fits, where it's filtered or unfiltered. And it's more so of just standing my ground. Listen, I'm not always light for when I do things, but I'm always respected at the end. There's people that come pull me to the side, be like, listen, it's about time somebody said fucking something. Like, they won't say it, but watching somebody else that's willing to risk it and deliver the message is what inspires other people to start speaking out as well. Another thing that happened, I'm having a group discussion, and this is crazy. I think this is fucking ludicrous. People are gonna, hey, I'll take the jabs right now. A woman was discussing how she stopped talking to a man, right? Doesn't want to talk to him. He'll send her money, but she'll accept the money. And I said, yo, what? And I remember asking the question. I said, listen, why would you accept money from somebody you no longer communicate with, you no longer talk to, you no longer have interest in? Why do you keep accepting the money? So she was like, well, I told him what it is. So if he wants to send me money, I'm just going to keep it. I said, you do understand when you accept money, some men still feel like they have access to you. So she was like, I don't care what he thinks, if he has access to me or not. If you send me money, I'm going to accept it. I said, okay. Another woman comes out of nowhere, right? As I'm talking, she was like, well, you know what I'm saying? If you want to be a sucker, I said, listen, who included you? I'm talking to her directly right now. She's like, well, I'm always going to include myself. I said, listen, to be included is a hell of a drug. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm being very direct with who I'm talking with. When I said everybody must have looked at me crazy because I'm basically telling her to wait to speak while I'm talking to somebody, I must have been the goddamn bad guy right then and there. I was like, nobody's talking to you. I'm being direct with who I'm talking with. Like, wait your turn. I don't care about your input right now. When I'm done talking, then you can speak. And so, like I said, everybody looked at me crazy, and dudes wanted to look like they wanted to do something, wasn't gonna do nothing. So, but like I said, it takes a certain individual to be able to stand your ground in situations where you got to learn how to just stand still and firm, right? In that situation, listen, I had to walk away from it, but I didn't care what they said. At the end of the day, I got my respect. I tell you that right now. I got my respect right there and there. Like, and then I had to put it back on the man. The man was like, man, if he a simp and he sending money to a girl that want to talk, that's his fault. I said, okay, bro, I'm gonna do you like I did another man before who told my homegirl that was okay. She ended up getting pistol whipped by the dude. So if she gets pistol whipped or beat up by the dude that she's accepting money from, that she has no interest in, and she gets put in the hospital, I'm going to slide you a gun. You better go slide because you influenced that behavior. You should have told her, don't accept no money from no man you're not interested in. Bro, I hate men and women who influence people to do stupid behavior and then be like, oh, man, he beat her. Like, who's going to protect her? Hey, didn't we tell her don't accept money from that man no more? Well, wait, she accepted money from a man. Like, yeah. But hey, these cases do happen. And you can't tell women shit. But when a man tries to help steer a woman into a better direction, you got simps, you got women who influence negative behavior. So, hey, look, I do feel like some things are consequential. Sorry, not going to ever apologize for that. But yeah, things are consequential.
All right, for sure, for sure. I like that. Shouts out to Auntie in the chat. Michael B. Jordan said in Black Panther, hey, Auntie. Appreciate that. But yeah, we got to be careful in our conversation tactics. We got so used to men not having a voice. A lot of times within the culture, we forget, like, look, when a man tends to speak, you should kind of stop talking. Yeah. That should be the order, like in the household. So we've gotten so far away from that. You know what I mean? But we still say we want men within the household, but we've taken away a lot of the roles that makes them empowered and gives them value. Like, it's a reason why even in the religious world, they haven't allowed women to preach. I'm not saying women are incompetent to preach and teach, but for centuries, we've been taught and trained that men have the voice to teach and men's supposed to have that type of voice. But you will go to the church hall, the church house, give the pastor the ultimate respect, the deacon, everybody in there. But you go home and you talk over your man. Like, this is counterproductive. You feel me? So if that's going to be the respect that you give a man outside your household, you should give the man in your household 10 times more of that respect. But what happens in the culture of women is we look at that woman as being weak because she don't have a voice. You have a voice. It's just a time. It's a time and a place, and it's a balance behind when these voices get heard and when they get enforced, right? But if everybody sees the women talk over the men, we're going to build a society to where that's going to be the norm. So if a man does say, "Hey, look, slow down, I'm talking," now he looks like Ike Turner. He ain't hit nobody, but you see black eyes, bruised ribs. Arrest that man. Just for talking, you feel me? So we got to kill that narrative, you know what I mean? So I go to the Usher and the Keke Palmer situation. Like, when her child's father, I don't say baby daddy, when he made the public post, a lot of people was like, well, he should have talked to her one-on-one. I ain't gonna argue that. But what I will say is we've made it the norm for men to get trashed in public. We never once told women, deal with your man at home. If man ain't shit, he a cheater, a liar. We built female R&B wouldn't even be what it is if men weren't humiliated in public. You don't hear no woman singing,
Oh
I work
God.
with my man, praise my husband, I'm married, blah, blah. Like, that shit don't sell. Independent woman, fuck these men, get the bag. That's what sells.
Toxicity.
That's humiliating men in public. But if a man humiliate a woman in public, oh, he should have did it at home. Like, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to have a balance in that approach. You feel me? So we built a whole society to where when men trash the household, blast it. Tell everybody. When a woman do it, deal with her one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like, no, fuck that. I'm not saying either is right, but we just have to correct how we approach situations. You know what I mean? So in that situation, a family was destroyed, but even though the woman did a little wrong, we still looking at the wrong, quote unquote, that the man did that didn't really do anything. And now Usher and Keke Palmer got a music video together called Boyfriend.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You ain't heard about that?
Dog.
I ain't know you ain't know about that, man.
No, are you?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you
Hey,
gotta check
look,
it out.
man.
Send a new music video. Yeah, fucked up, right?
Hey, man,
So no one.
I need to get married tonight, bro. Fuck that.
So
Oh man,
ain't nobody saying, yo, that man got screwed out of his family, she wrong, nothing. We just looking at everything he didn't do. He didn't marry her, even though they didn't decide to get married before they had a kid. That's a like two-party. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we just gotta look at this whole roles of how we look at who's the hero and the villain and the victim and whatnot. So, you got it, man.
Back a lot, bro. That really just hit me, bro.
Yeah,
That's some disrespectful.
that went viral, man. That went viral. Yeah, they got a whole. Also got a whole video. Yeah.
Listen, like this, how you know it's real, bro. I didn't know that, bro. That's crazy as hell, man. Whew.
Okay.
I mean, listen. You might have to pick up the mic again, bro. I got.
All right, look. So this is really like another fundamental point on the conversation. Within the black community, for say, we say, look, men had the lead in the role, and I don't know how they dropped the ball, but we say, look, it didn't work. So women got their liberation, their freedom, took control of the household. So now we have to be honest, that hasn't worked. So now we have to look at the flaws and the successes of the past and create a new blueprint in order to move forward. But you can't keep following the same narrative. You feel me? if we say black boys is reading at like a fourth grade level or below, and it's been going on like for years and years and years, we can't just look at the fact that fathers aren't in the household. You eventually have to look at the parent that's in the household. So this is the only way you move forward is if you really look at everything historically speaking. So that's a short point, but you know what I mean? Like if men were so destructive and women were empowered and that's destructive, even though that may not have been the intention, you have to create something new, which means, I feel like, women raising daughters should have these types of conversations with. This is what men went wrong historically, and this is what women went wrong historically. But if both parties never went wrong, you're not going to create new solutions. You feel me? So we don't need to find men and women that just tolerate us and put up with our bullshit. You need to actually create an entire new blueprint, rules and regulations, morals, and all that, what have you, in order to push society forward. So that's my point.
Oh man, great point right there. I do believe like as we move forward in society, or like really move forward in the future, that there's going to be some power that's needed to get back to men. One of the episodes I just talked about, watched from Kevin Samuels. Everyone knows about Kevin Samuels.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about putting power back into to men at church, and I was like, yo, I don't think a lot of people actually paid attention to that episode.
Mm-hmm.
When he was like, listen, y'all want men back in the church, you got to also have the pastor facilitate certain things to make men want to be present again, right? He said if the majority of your flock is ran by women, and that's why your message is just pandering towards women or cater to women, that's why you have people flock out, right? You can always be like, listen, we got more women than men here, and the men have more access to more women because of that church, but at the same time, if there's nothing that's being duplicated out of that church, like marriages for once, then who's to really say that's a successful church? I'm like, you know what, this man, hey, he be spitting and people be sleeping on him. But that made a lot of sense to me. Like, how prosperous are you if nothing is coming down from the church at the same time? It's like, okay, I mess with that at the same time. Like I said, I believe it's still a pick and choose what society wants men to do in order to feel trusted by them. But everything is not there. That's why I said, like, you can dive on a bomb, you can build a nice house, you can do certain things, but when it comes to decision making, it's like, listen, we're gonna have to sit down and talk. Like, I know men right now, man. I remember when I was in sales, not even just sales, but even in real life, a man can want something, right? And you know what come out his mouth? Let me discuss it with my wife first. Hey, listen, we gotta get at the table. We all need to talk about it to make sure. Like, hey, listen, this decision is based on you, correct? You're like, yeah, I want it, but I just want to make sure my wife is okay with it. I was like, listen, man, I always felt weird about that. I never understood it, right? Like, does she need your authority to pay for certain things she wants at the same time? Then cool. But if you're trying to tell me that everything has to be cycle to your wife first before you make a decision on something you want that's minor, like not even over $100, I feel like it's a problem. Now, it'd be different to be like, hey, listen, I want to get these new speakers, these new rims on the car, da-da-da-da-da. You know, the bullshit. And like, yeah, talk to her with your wife about it. Cool, whatever. But minor things, like, hey, you might want some new headphones, or like, hey, you seen something that could be beneficial to the family, you still need to ask permission for that? If I see something that's beneficial towards the family, I'm going to do it because I know it's beneficial towards the family. I don't need to say so for that. I know what it's going to contribute to their lives. But like I said, over the years, I just felt it's weird that every time some men got to come to a decision, they're like, hey, let me talk to my wife about it. Let me talk to my girlfriend about it. She oversees the finances. I'm like, nigga, you know how to budget. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. But hey, that's just me right there.
I flipped my script a little bit. All right, so men's input on making sure men are trustworthy within society is you have to play a role in producing men. Like, for example, I was probably either in middle school or high school. I can't remember. And I had this barber. And I think, you know, he was shooting a shot at my mom. My mom was shooting a shot at him, what have you. But I'm giving you an example. You
Yeah,
feel me? You
okay.
know, hey, what they saying, baby boy, mama gotta have a life too. Feel me? So,
Oh man.
you know, I already had a relationship with him. You feel me? So, wasn't like weird. So, you know, he was. I needed a ride home. He was giving me a ride home. So my mom wanted him to stop at French's and bring us some chicken. You know, so he go to French's. We in the drive-thru. He ordered her food. He asked me, did I want something? Hell yeah. So I said what I want. You feel me? So we pull up to the window. You feel me? And he like, all right, so you got your money? I'm like, wait, what? Like, hold on, man. Hold on, what we doing, man? And he was like, hey, man, say, I think I was probably like 14, 15. He was like, you a grown man. So, you know what? You right. Gave him my money. So these are the experiences that I had with men in my childhood, family or not. You know what I'm saying? I would be at my grandmother's house who lived right next to an uncle, next door. And, you know, shit, I'm cutting 2 yards. I'm washing dishes for 2 houses. I'm not even being forced to do this. I'm just taking it upon myself to do it. Sometimes I get paid to do it. So I'm like, all right, bet, shit, this shit like a job. And then sometimes they'd be like, I ain't gonna pay you because I don't want you to think that every time you do this, we owe you something. Feel me? So I got to, you know, I worked for pay, but at the same time, I understood that they didn't owe me anything, so I didn't always look for pay. And they didn't always have to make me do these things. But sometimes they had to tell me, hey, cut both yards, do this, do that. So these men played a role into me being a unselfish man later in life because I understand life is bigger than just me. Whether it's my mom or my daughter, my girl, whoever, you know, my friend, my bro, you know, whoever, my dad, life is bigger than just me. So I have to use my mental capabilities and my physical abilities to appease other people. I'm not a self-led person, so to speak. So we have to make sure that young boys grow up and understand these type of logics. If they grow up and the only thing they know is feeding for self, make sure self is straight, self-care, I budget everything around self, I don't inconvenience myself for anything other than self, that's not going to be a competent man in society. Whether he's successful or not, he's never going to provide for a multitude of people because that's not his thinking mentality. It's self first. So in order to be a productive man in society, I'm not saying you got to put everybody before you to where it becomes toxic, but you do have to have a mentality that people count on you for different things. I ain't saying you got to pay everybody bills. I ain't saying you got to kill yourself, but the most productive man is the most resourceful man. And it's not just within knowledge, information, connects, what have you, networking. It's really just on the most simple shit. Do you go to sleep at night with anybody else on your mind other than yourself? Whether you got kids, you don't have to have kids to feel that pressure. You got family, you got loved ones, you got people you care about, you got friends. You feel me? They can be men or women. Do you think about anybody else other than yourself before you close your eyes? Do you budget your money around anybody else other than yourself? These are the things that make trustworthy men in society because we see you can be trusted because ever since you was a kid, you did things for other people. So if we're raising boys and they spoiled brats that only think about themselves and they don't have no chores, they don't have no discipline, society's never going to trust that man.
Nope.
So as men, we have to make sure we show these men. Like I say, since 12 years old, I've been paying for a lot of shit myself. I ain't saying I paid my own bills since 12, but feel me, I've been paying for a lot of shit. People put me in situations to where they're like, "Where your money at?" I'm like, "Man, all right, bet." So that's my point. Men got to play their role at the same time.
Oh man. Piggyback off that is I 100% believe that.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't like what I say. Like, people look at some of their uncles and brothers and dads like as the man, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but listen, those men ain't never got battle tested against other men to see how they really hold up, right? Some people have great conversational points, but not actually great actions. skillfulness. The main thing I always talked about myself, what would I do if I wasn't getting paid for it? I still be looking to become resourceful, informative, competent. These are things that are in me because that's just things I want to be able to do. So able to help somebody get from one end to the other, that's what I love to do. I just put a couple of my homies on different positions within the tech field and also within logistics to health industry. Like, hey, listen, I know somebody here, talk to them. Hey, this person here, they're free this time. It's fine. But one thing I always do now before I'm able to give out my resources or my network to people, I make sure I don't be around bullshit ass people. Like I said, one of the things when you were younger, you get somebody a contact number, they contact the person, and the person, like, yeah, they call, but they said they wanted the product, they never bought it. You look at it like, okay, cool. But as you get older, if they haven't matured to the stage of knowing if they want to purchase or not, or inform the person that no longer wants to proceed forward, I feel like that's a reflection of character, right? So those are some of the key bases when you're actually building young boys, is putting character into place of when to do things and not to do things, right? If I'm on a date with a woman and it goes bad, I'm still gonna open the door. I'm still gonna pull out her chair. I'm still gonna do certain things because that's in me. But if y'all get upset to a point where y'all feel like it's okay to shut down in front of people, show attitude, a hissy fit, bitch and moan about it and complain, listen, I don't like to be around men like that. I tell X all the time, and people around, I do not like being around emotional men. It does not make me, it does not, it does not work with me well. I just don't like it. It's older men. I be feeling like I need to slap the shit out of them sometimes. I had a man that was 44 years old trying to be messy. And I said, dude, I'm 32. You're acting like a woman. Like, there's no way at this age you should feel comfortable bringing mess and turning things into a negative standpoint for your entertainment. There's no way for that. And people try to look at us strange for how some of us is raised, or the men we decide to surround ourselves with to get the morals, the moral compass, you know what I'm saying, and things like that into play. But these are the men that help build who we are today. This is why I get calls from people that's like 15, 16. I get emails and stuff. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. And it's just inspiring people. That's one of the things y'all should be able to reflect upon, is even if you don't have a good relationship with a man because he seems so strict or so disciplined, put that man in front of some people. It might rub out some good characteristics. Okay, duplication is one of the main things that any system, business, or production, if you can't duplicate a leader, it's going to eventually fall. Somebody's going to have to step up. But if they don't have the skill set, the mindset, and the competence, everything's going to crash. This is why they always put things into play. You want to go to management? Cool. We're going to need you to go to school. Hey, you want to go to leadership? You want to be a leader? Go to leadership development. Like, there's certain things they put into play to make duplications of leaders.
Yeah. All right. Last 2 points. You was like, man, like if a day go bad, you still gonna be a man and a gentleman.
Yes, sir.
And then one of my favorite songs by Eminem, Superman, wouldn't piss on fire to put you up. You know what I'm saying? So you got that energy as well, but that's a little joke. But
yeah, it is.
One thing I noticed about society is emotions. We can build a society to where daughters, mothers, wives, anybody, feminine, right, can exhibit even negative emotions to the fullest extent, and it's acceptable. And we're trained that if a man acts out of emotion, it's a weakness. It can be to a particular point, but then we feel disconnected from men that never show emotion. So we got to be careful about how we use these words and make it beneficial to both sides. I'm not with that whole thing like a man is never supposed to have emotions. Look, if a man got ambition, he got love, he got aspiration, he got dreams, he got everything. All of those is centered around emotions. The man that can love you the most is the man that is the most emotional, because love is an emotion, it's a feeling. So you can't pick and choose necessarily when a man is emotional. It just has to be in a positive aspect. So if we raise a society where men aren't in tune with their emotions and they don't have emotional intelligence, then it's never going to be a fix to the problem in the family structures. So you just got to be careful about the words that we use. So going back to the discipline scenario, a man can get totally disrespected, but if he reacts to the disrespect he's always wrong. But him being disrespected and women being emotional is never wrong. So we can't create a society to where only one party has the ability to have emotions.
One way,
So
right?
it's a one-way street. Feel me?
One way,
So
right?
women can be sassy as fuck, whether they're daughters, wives, mothers, what have you. But if a man responds to the sass, then he's acting in his feminine. Like we got to crash the whole. We have to crash the narratives, and then we have the whole alpha man narrative to where alphas just don't operate in emotion at all. Yo, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that is
I'll be
bullshit.
100% honest.
Yeah,
Feel me?
Mhm.
Yeah. Feel me? So we have to throw away these terms, throw away these preconceived notions, and just look at what actually works. If a man is never able to show his emotions, let's just say he don't snap and lose it, he eventually loses his family because what happens? His family say, "Look, I didn't know you love me. You never connected with me. You never showed me this. You never showed me a soft side. You never did this. You never did that." So a lot of times the man's just like, "Well, shit, I didn't know that was a thing. I was taught." Don't cry in front of you. Don't do this in front of you. Don't express my vulnerability. So, needless to say, sometimes society can do you a great service, and sometimes society can do you a negative service. You just have to be realistic in your approach towards even how we look at emotions. Now, we do have overly emotional men that act like women. That is a thing. Feel me? 9 times out of 10, they were raised by women. That's a thing. So, just got to be careful about the words we use and how we tap into these words. You know what I mean? So I'm done on that. I'm
All
done.
right, I'm just gonna give clarity, y'all. When I say I don't work well with emotional men, I don't work with men who complain about life too much, men who say certain things and don't go into action and feel like they should receive a reward for it. And that's what I mean. I don't work well with that. I like working with men who can convey their message effectively, emotional intent behind it, intellectually, and you just get it across. So, hey, I understand you. You know what I'm saying? I don't listen. When I see men talk with their hands and fists and do this, it doesn't disturb me because I notice that we all create a message differently, right? Some are very, like you said, some people are charismatic to a point they can use their hands and signals and gestures, and some men are just more so like pounding on their hands to get there. Like I said, however you convey your message, just make sure you do it effectively. But what I'm saying is really what he just said was like, listen, I don't like bitch men. I'm just be honest with y'all. Like, let's go out there and make some things happen. Express yourself openly to where a man can also direct you on how to do things in emotional intent. And that's emotional maturity comes with that. Because I still have some friends that act out emotionally immaturely to a point where I had to teach them how to maturely act on their emotions. But like I said, it's all about how you convey your message and how connected I am with you. Because at the end of the day, I'm all about productivity, progress, making sure we have a good time. There's a layer, a line between everything that we communicate with, and we can move forward.
Okay. Oh, my last little thing, man. I gotta slide this in. Um, Going back to a point I brought up of we, we have to create a society of men that don't really take anything for free. Feel me? Whether it's financial, energetically speaking, a man should always pay his debts. A man's, you know what I'm saying? Even if a man like gets something financially free, he should always find a way to uh, financially give back to that same person or group of people, what have you. What I'm noticing now is a lot of young men are growing up and they're looking for handouts. They think people owe them something. They're entitled to something for free. Feel me? Like just because you grew up with your mama or whoever and people looked out for you, that don't mean that the world owes you entitlement for people to look out for you or do things for you, whether it's financially, energetically, what have you. When you get out in that world, no one's going to give you that same care, concern, and entitlement. So you have to really learn to fend for self. So we have a lot of men that will take things from men and women for free and think that they're owed that. You feel me? If a woman is paying for something, since she began that pattern and that's the algorithm she set out, then she got to keep doing that. If your friend or your brother or whoever does something for you, then they should continuously do it for you, because no, you shouldn't be codependent as a man financially and energetically. You should be able to produce these things for yourself first and foremost. And then if other people add value in those areas, you can appreciate that 10 times more. But you should already be solid first. Feel me? I ain't saying you ain't gonna never hit no dark pockets to where you need help, but you shouldn't be that codependent as a man. And I'm just saying that within society now, it's a lot of men need a lot of help, and I can't connect with that. I'm the kind of person, look, figure this shit out. It may get dark, it may get difficult, you know what I'm saying? Shit may not always be gravy and perfect, but if you're a man, you're a hustler, whatever you want to call yourself, figure this shit out. Feel me? And if people contribute to your success, contribute to your value, pay them back. Whether it's financial or energetically, what have you, pay them back. Them people, you're in those people debt. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what I got on my end, man. Unless there's another subject you want to talk about.
Cool. All right. Appreciate you for watching. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got the link in both of our bios. Up top, we got No Ordinary Brother, aka Juice. I go by the name of King. We appreciate you for tapping in and watching, man. We'll be back later on this week with another episode. We out.
Peace.